are in this space of personality-driven work, you have to be so honest and so real with your level of talent and skill, because you can easily be replaced. That's when I got my first show at BT. I remember one day they just invited me up to the office. They was like, yo, what ideas do you have? I was like, nigga, I've been waiting for this. I got this show idea called I'll Apologize Later. I wanted to see his way.
Yeah.
And I feel like he wanted to see my way, and I don't think we did a good job of getting each other to see each other's way, so then we start arguing.
Yeah.
So I have been to Toronto twice.
Yeah.
And the first time I almost went to jail.
Yeah.
I grew up watching the BT pre-show and the BT Awards.
Facts.
And I got to do that.
What was that like, yo? Hello and welcome to Hustle Over Everything podcast. This is a podcast where we receive stories, tips, and tactics from entrepreneurs who have done it. Today, I'm sitting here with comedian, entertainer, Miles Jones himself.
Thank
you,
you,
bro. How you
doing?
doing?
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for having me,
Yes,
brother.
sir. Yes, sir. We got Isaac in the back on the ones and twos.
Peace, Isaac. Peace.
You know what I'm saying? Most definitely, bro. So we were just talking about hip hop in the first off, we just came off the Dr.Umar episode. Crazy episode.
Shout out to Dr. Umar.
Big shout out to Dr.
Shout
Umar.
out to Dr. Umar.
You know,
I personally cherish what his existence in our culture. Like Dr. Umar is an extremely impactful and necessary voice, and he needs to be protected. Not in a way that's like saying he's like pussy, and I'm just, the same way we protect certain personalities, certain artists, is how we need to act about Dr. Umar. You don't have to agree with everything, but the man has a good heart. He has a good heart. He has good intention for the culture and for specifically black people. So he's somebody that needs to be protected.
He's net positive 100%. And people always talk about him having scamming claims because of his school, but he has the school.
He
has the school.
The
school is there.
The school's there.
Yeah.
But we were just talking about hip hop culture.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to let the conversation continue between you and Isaac.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's pick up where we just left off. Where were we, Isaac?
So Mouse was just speaking about, I guess, separating the crime, the violence, and all the negative things that are surrounding hip hop culture from hip hop itself.
From being a representative of it, right? Because that's what I think that's a white people tactic.
Yeah.
Right? And they only use it against marginalized communities.
Yeah.
Right? So in hip hop spaces, does crime happen? Does violence happen?
Yeah.
Yes. Should that represent all of hip hop? No.
So I have a larger question
Because
for you.
that becomes an indictment against black people. Yeah. Even though that over the years, white people have poked their head in and said, I'm hip hop. Please love me. Please respect me as hip hop. Don't judge me. But when there's an indictment against hip hop, that's an indictment against black people.
Yeah.
So that is why I'm always very protective, and I'm always very intentional about separating the crime and the degeneracy that could follow hip hop from these kids who are coming from the hood into these new spaces. Let's call it what it is. It's crime. That's not hip hop.
So what would you call hip hop culture? Like I want your explanation of hip hop culture. Because I do think the way you think and what I've heard, even in your conversation with Dr. Umar, I feel like you actually look at hip hop way differently than a lot of people do within the culture and outside the culture. So what is your...
I look like hip hop. I look at hip hop. I'm 35 years old. Hip hop just celebrated 50 years of hip hop. Right, so I always acknowledge that I am way younger than the existence of hip hop.
Yeah.
I have been blessed to have OGs around my whole life. My father directly fed me hip hop. My cousins directly fed me.
And where are you
hip-hop.
from? What's your background, just for the people? So they know.
I'm nigga. I'm all black. American black.
Like where? Like what's the...
My father.
No, bro.
I'm
Yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, I didn't want it to
like
be like,
what's...
oh.
This podcast is brought to you by Narai Cellars Wine, the only black-owned wines in Canada. We know what to do. Hit the link below and scoop up not one, not two, but a case of wine. This is the white field blenders wine. So make sure you go scoop that. Hit the link below and visit NaraiCellars.ca. Let's get back to the show.
No,
No, I'm a nigga.
No. What state? Like where you grew up?
New York,
Yeah.
Brooklyn,
Yeah.
Brooklyn and Long Island.
There you go.
My father's from downtown Gowanus. My mother is from Long Island. My father raised us out on Long Island, but made sure that me specifically was heavy in into our Brooklyn roots and making sure that there was always a voice from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And I've lived in Brooklyn my entire adult life.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say, because I've had a father and because I've had cousins and had OGs just at the barbershop, I was fed. I'm like what you would call like a tweener, right? Like I'm a millennial. So like I remember I've seen the changes in hip hop. So I say that to say when I started listening to hip hop, all the niggas that were like that my dad was listening to, those niggas were just like becoming adults. Right? So like and then now I've been with them long enough to see them be 40, 50 years old.
Yeah.
So I say that to say I've always had a bit of a nuanced look at hip hop, a more because I'm taking from both sides.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say I look at hip hop, unfortunately, as a man child. It is a grown ass adult
Yeah.
with a feeble child brain. It has all the physical attributes of a man and has all the ability of a talented grown man. So it's reach, it's impact, the ability to generate money.
The money, yeah.
The wealth.
It does that.
Yeah.
But the mindset isn't really all there.
Got you. And so with that being said, and I know with Dr. Umar's conversation, it was definitely more of a debate. You know what I mean?
It was a
debate.
argument.
And it was an argument.
We was arguing. I would love to sit down with Dr. Umar and truly debate this topic.
Yeah.
We was arguing. What just happened now was an argument.
It started off as a debate. And then Dr. Umar's like, yo, I'm out of here.
But we need that in the community.
We need it.
Yeah.
There never was an ill will. It was love, but I was on one side, and I wanted to budge. I wanted to see his way.
Yeah.
And I feel like he wanted to see my way, and I don't think we did a good job of getting each other to see each other's way. So then we start arguing.
Yeah. So the reason why I brought up that conversation is because I feel like even in what you just said, with hip hop itself being looking or having the attributes of a fully grown man, but in the brain still moving like a child. I feel like you're kind of with that statement admitting that there should be the accountability from hip hop itself.
I've always agreed and I've led that hip hop should have accountability, specifically for the treatment of women. Yeah, the treatment and desecration and disrespect that hip hop has, that the women who have partaken in hip hop and subscribed to hip hop has endured and continue to endure. Specifically black women, only black women. That's the only women I care about. That's sick and it's depraved, and it needs to be addressed and accounted. I've said multiple times, hip hop needs a Me Too movement, but it won't get one because the world seen those white women as something that needed to be protected in 2017. And when black women started to say something, they said, "Shut up." Right? Hip hop is this dirty thing in the industry. It is this dirty thing that you make money from and then you don't pay no mind, specifically from the white people. You make your money from, but you don't pay no mind. So when the people in there are being disrespected, you take no accountability, you don't protect them. And then you also say, hey, that's hip hop for you. You wanted that. Which is why I always say, separate the crime and the degeneracy from the art form.
So how? Like, how do you, and how would you suggest for people to do it?
Grown men have to step up. Yeah. Women can't do it. The victims will never be their own champions. The men need to step up. Same way that we would argue, how do we fight white privilege? We can't do it. We've been getting our asses whooped by it for the last 500 years.
They have to fight it.
The people who benefit from white privilege have to say, they have to give up that benefit. The men have to give up, the black men have to give up that benefit and say, we're going to start protecting our women. We're not going to keep paying our women less than. It starts right there. Because if you respect the fact that you have to pay them, you respect the way you look. I would hope. Because there's also like this sector of men that just no matter what,
They don't wanna pay.
They don't respect women no matter what you pay them.
Facts. Yeah.
So the men have to begin to say, I'm going to give up my benefit of this, and I'm going to start protecting the black women that's in this space. Oh, you did what to her? Yeah, whoop his ass.
Yeah.
Oh, you did what to her? Ostracize him.
Fired.
Point blank.
So with that
Start
being
kicking
said,
these niggas' ass
yeah.
and start ostracizing these niggas.
How do you separate? So, like we started off, like you said that you separated the crime and all those negative things out of hip hop. But how do you do that?
I don't say no. I don't,
Yeah.
because that could be misconstrued.
Okay.
I don't separate it from hip hop. I
Yeah.
say that doesn't represent hip hop.
Okay.
There's
So,
a difference because it happens, but
Yeah.
crime happens in all forms of music.
but can you agree that it does in fact represent hip hop?
No. It represents crime. I would say it represents poverty.
And do you think because so many hip hop artists speak on those times in their life when they were in poverty, that it could come off that the crime and the things that come along with that end up representing hip hop by default?
If people are lazy enough to look at it that way.
So
Everybody
yeah.
has these poignant. You ever see somebody? You ever like? I don't know. Maybe y'all are y'all into art?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. I have
Okay,
a whole basket tattoo.
okay, bet, perfect. Have you? So you've been to an art exhibit?
Yeah.
And have you ever like heard the way that these like professional art dealers talk about art?
Yes.
I'm not truly into art, so I don't know. But so I'm just going off of what I've heard in like in public forum. But you know, they start talking about the abstract colors and the dimension, and it gives it depth and all that. They don't talk about hip hop that way.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
say, "Oh, that's a bop."
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm not talking
No,
about.
you know,
art.
you're saying the casuals.
I'm talking about the casual,
Yeah.
outsider. They don't. Hip hop has no depth to them.
Gotcha.
So then they're going to look at this art form by loud, brash, unapologetic black people, and they're
Yeah.
gonna say, "That's them." So it's very lazy of them to look at hip hop. So
Yeah.
I don't explain. So I don't look to discuss hip hop with people like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
100%.
So that is why my argument and my demeanor, it's completely different because I won't even talk about hip hop with people that are lazy enough to look at it and say, "Oh, that represents all of hip hop."
Yeah. 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 for
Because
sure.
if I looked at this art thing and I said, "Oh, that paintbrush was just a paint stroke," you don't know the artist.
Yeah.
Seen
Facts.
it in it. You
Facts.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like I'm just
No, that's a beautiful
and they
correlation.
look at it the same, then they look at rock and roll that way, grunge and alt pop and all of this. They're so like eloquent with the depictions of these art forms. Where I'm just like, it sounds like white people complaining. Honestly, that's what the music sounds like.
Yeah.
It's a banana with tape on it.
Yeah, that's what it sounds. But when it comes to hip hop, they're so lazy.
Yeah.
Because you won't talk about the depravity that goes on in rock culture outside of the music. And these motherfuckers been wilding forever.
Yeah. Suicide.
Suicide.
Like, drug use.
Violence against their women.
Yeah.
Illicit drug use. How has that influenced white culture? But they won't ever say that. They will never say those crimes represent rock culture, even though rock is a thing they stole from black people. But, you know, that's not what we're talking about, right? They'll never say that is what represents rock culture. That is a subset that happens to a few bad apples. They love doing that. But the rock culture is this beautiful thing that Leonard Skinner and Aerosmith does and the Rolling Stones. That's what this is.
And it's like,
Yeah.
where's that for rap?
And what happens is black people get so caught up in trying to survive and try and show, I'm not one of them, that sometimes we inwardly turn on the very thing and start sounding like them.
So
That was my biggest point of contingency with Dr. Umar.
what you're saying is it makes so much sense, and I completely understand what you're saying. I do, right? But when you have an artist like a Future, when you have an artist like a Boss Man D-Lo, who are super dope at what they do, right? Worldwide. And I know that you had mentioned before, Boss Man D-Lo specifically might not be
He ain't
worldwide,
worldwide
yet.
yet.
No,
But
no.
He has a
I-
chance to be.
no, he has a
I
chance
like
to
his
be.
music.
But I would actually put him alongside of like Sexy Red, because the reason why is because like this is just based off experience. I was in Dominican a couple weeks ago,
DR.
and DR.
Oh, okay.
Anytime any of those tracks came up,
People
everyone's
went
going crazy. I was in like, and this is just coming from people that I talk to in the UK, like everywhere. They know these artists, so they are becoming those worldwide figures. But we can pass over Sexy Red, Bossman D-Lo. We can go to the bigger artists, Futures, all these people, 21 Savages, all that type of stuff. We can 100% admit, like, the music is fire. Although they're talking about certain things that don't look the greatest on the black community, black culture, the music itself is fire. So what do you say to, first of all, the people that enjoy the type of music that they make? And how do you think an artist that makes that type of music can actually impact hip hop in a good way to kind of take away that stigma of the crime and everything being involved in it?
I will answer your last question first, just because it's first in mind.
Yeah.
It's probably like the easiest answer. You got to be more intentional.
Yeah.
But to ask them to be more intentional about something they've never had to encounter before, which is accountability, mass success, money, responsibility. These are things most of these people never had to encounter before because they're coming from an impoverished background where they probably only had to worry about self. So the way to fix that is to have, me and Dr. Umar disagreed on this, but the institution of hip hop should then breed OGs that look out for these people instead of these OGs trying to find one more run, right? Like my biggest issue was the rappers that my dad, kind of his generation kind of solidified. I don't mind saying names, whatever, but like, there's no reason why somebody like a LL Cool J should still be rapping. Like, yo, go get the young niggas and like stand next to them and school them. You're like literally like, to some people, you're like the first rapper.
Yeah.
Like he's
facts.
like the first rapper, right? Same thing. It was just a lot of niggas. Like I remember there was a time where Jazz-O and Jay-Z was going at it. And it was just like mad old niggas that, yo, you not whack, but the music industry ain't trying to hear you right now. But you so fixated on self that you is letting these young niggas come up and you not embracing them. You competing with
You're
them.
looking at them as competition.
And you
with-
getting smoked. So now you mad. So all that info that you could have passed down, all that good game you could have passed down, you holding it for self. And now you sitting somewhere not eating off your royalties, you in a fucking bad deal, and you frustrated, and you got a chip on your shoulder, and now you looking at these young niggas as they ain't shit. So now they really are not shit because you could have had an influence on them. That's like I don't like always using drug dealers and drug shit. So I'll say just in the hood, that's just like a nigga that was a cool nigga in the hood. You ever see a nigga keep showing up to high school events after he graduated?
We all know that guy.
That's what the rappers did. You so focused about trying to live your glory days that you not putting the young niggas on. You not telling the young niggas, hey, yo, what you doing? Chill, relax. So now when 2 generations removed trying to do it, they like, nigga, suck my dick. Who are you? You can't tell me nothing. Them niggas. Them niggas is the reason for this shit because the niggas that could have had a direct hand and then could have built the institution, them niggas could have been the nigga that then rose up the next group of niggas and then the next group of niggas would have said, all right, I had my run and now I'm going to stand next to this nigga. And then they'll set it up and we'll have an institution where niggas keep looking out for niggas.
But unfortunately, there's been people that are OGs that have put people down the wrong path. Like look at Mason Favio. You know what I'm saying? Like Favio signed a bad deal to Mason. Now Mace owns a lot of his masters.
Look at Gucci's 1017 label.
Well,
like where all the artists are dead and in jail.
Yeah, I don't know if he did that though. I would more or less agree with your
Fabio.
Mace thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because Mace, you knew better.
Mace knew better.
Because you went through it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But there's a subset that says, hey, but am I going Yes, I am going. By the way, the question I'm about to ask.
Yeah.
The answer is yes. But am I going to hold Mace a victim of the system, the music industry, and bad deals and the standard bad deals? Am I going to hold him accountable for doing what was done to him? Yes, I am. But I am also saying that it's just a cycle.
It's a cycle, yeah.
It's a cycle.
Yeah.
The music industry, not hip hop, the music industry is predatory.
Very predatory.
Everybody's in a fucked up deal.
Yeah.
White, black, rap, pop, K-pop. They're all in fucked deals.
Yeah.
These niggas are not specifying deals to the artist. These are fucking, all right, we about to sign them. You'll pass me that contract over there?
Yeah.
Yeah, sign that. They're not saying, oh, so they only change it when you haven't, you got representation that say, let's redline this, redline that, redline this, let's fix that. I was in a really long term relationship with an exec, and me and her would argue about this all the time. I'd be like, yo, she'd be like, oh, this artist getting on my nerves about it. I'm like, yo, you know you're talking about a black person, right? Like you about to just drop this nigga? Y'all did this to this nigga. Y'all signed him. He had no idea what the fuck life was outside of his hood. You're about to sign him, and because he didn't acquiesce properly, you're gonna drop him?
Yeah. That's sad, yo. That's sad.
And I don't know if y'all have interviewed him already. One of my OGs, one of my big brothers, Wayno. Love Wayno. I remember there was a small point in time where I wanted to be an A&R. And he was like,
I
why?
can see that for you.
He was like, why
I
would
can
you want to do that?
100% see that for you.
He was like, why would you want to do that? Artists are terrible people. And I used to sit with that and I'd be like, damn, Wayno, like, and I used to think that it was like this like weathered look or like skewed look at something. But then when I sat down, I'm like, you're not wrong because you're saying artists are terrible people, but they're terrible people because we allow them to be terrible people. They're terrible people because they're being put in position that they've never been put in before, and you're expecting them to acquiesce when they've never had to acquiesce to this shit before.
Never even been outside their hood.
Never. Niggas never had to deal with this shit before.
Yeah.
Niggas never made more money than they can afford. What do I mean by that? Niggas never made more money than they could count before. Niggas had mad bread, but they could count it all. Now you give them a deal,
Worth millions.
and those ain't really millions.
Yeah.
That's a loan.
Yeah, it's a loan of millions.
You're giving them a loan on millions and telling them to go do the thing. Go dance, monkey dance. And then when they are put in a situation they've never had to be in before, and then they react humanly.
You drop them.
That's crazy. Me and that girl used to argue day in and day out about that. It's crazy.
And so what was you being on the inside of that, having your perspective and then dating somebody who was on the other side of it? Like, what was her perspective on that?
She's not from the hood. She's black,
Yeah.
but she's not from the hood.
Yeah.
So it was just and then she also is an industry baby. Like this girl is one of the biggest and best execs in the game today. Shout out to her, but she's an industry baby. And she came up when the industry was the industry, right? Before the algorithm and all that shit. So she was kind of weathered and worn, torn. Like, so it was really kind of like mundane for her. It was like, hey, this is the business.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I would just try and get her to look like
From the
these
human
are
side.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a black first, human second type of person.
Yeah.
So I care about the black humans in all facets and all. So it's just like, that shit is super predatory, man.
Yeah.
Super predatory.
Damn.
Would you ever get into the industry?
No.
Damn.
No.
That bad.
I can't because
seen that.
I would it would not be beneficial to me or them because I would be so like Dame Dash but on like crack. Like it would be
And he's already.
no, don't say that about Dame. I'm saying I would be like Dame Dash but like super
Yeah.
fuck worse.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. On 10. On 10.
If Dame was at a 10, I'd be at 100.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Nah, he ain't doing that. Fuck you. Nah, fuck that. He ain't doing that. He ain't disrespecting this nigga. No.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Nobody would get no work done if I was in it. I had to accept that. I really, there was like a year period where I was like, I really wanted to be an A&R. And like, I was like finding some really good artists and it was just like, And then there's the other part where you have to like deal with humans.
Yeah.
I don't like. There's a part that I don't like.
Humans, yeah, bro.
Because
There's
I
that
am
part too.
talent
And-
first.
no, but it's also
Like-
artistic humans. Artistic humans are even
a
more
different level.
difficult.
Yeah,
to
so it's
deal
like,
with.
so that's me
Yeah.
for my craft.
Yeah.
And so I have to focus on my craft first and foremost.
Yeah.
Then go be an A&R and deal with your bullshit. I want to be talent today. I don't want to. I don't want to deal with nobody. I want my agent and my manager to deal with everything today. So, but now I have to. So they're dealing with my shit, and I gotta come deal with your shit. Nah, but you know, I will always be black human artist first.
Word.
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro.
No, I was just gonna say, based off of our conversation in this short time, you and Dr. Umar didn't even really have to disagree, but it was just heated.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, y'all. I feel like y'all actually agree for real, because I think you're actually right with saying hip hop is an institution, but where he was coming from is that it's an institution.
He has
for-
he has a very specific look. And I'm not saying it's wrong. I
Yeah.
just disagree with it.
yeah.
Right. He speaks of these institutions. He's very like antiquated institutions.
Mm.
He talks about distribution, bank,
Grocery,
groceries,
yeah, yeah.
Groceries, cement.
school, hospital.
Yeah.
5 things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, in 1950 that might have worked, but like
There's
there's
more
other
institutions now.
institutions. There's more things. There's vast things,
Yeah.
right? And so when you don't look at that, and you don't look at that, then we'll always be at different sides
Yeah.
because you're stopping your viewpoint here, where I'm like, just push it out a little bit.
Gotcha.
There's more things to it to an institution. You know, there's multiple different things that could be an institution. But then once becoming an institution, is trap karaoke.
Yeah, shout out to Trap Karaoke. Man, I just was in Dallas last night.
Talk to me about the inception of trap karaoke and like your role in it.
So the inception of Trap Karaoke, I've been lucky enough to see it first as a consumer and just like a supporter. The first Trap Karaoke. So I'm not the owner.
I know.
Yeah, I'm not the
I know.
owner or the creator of Trap Karaoke. It actually was created outside of me, and there was a whole another host at one time. And it was super. I just remember being there, like it was super dope. I remember seeing like the beta, and it was in this like small bar in the LES. It might have been no bigger than this room we're in now, and like people went crazy. And just me and my fucking ratchet ass ghetto friends, we like took over. We were like doing the wave in the audience and shit. And then I remember the first one. There's actually a picture of me in the crowd of the first one. And then it came full circle because the first one's in 2016 or 2015, and then 2019 I become the host. And we've just been pushing and making that shit greater and greater every show out.
It's becoming a phenomenon 100%. And I feel like you were born for it because it went viral from your opening monologue.
Wow, thank you.
You know what I'm saying? And that's different. I remember seeing you on Grapevine and going from that to that. I feel like it was an easy transition, And now you're in comedy as well.
Thank you.
Like talk to us about that transition from, what you were doing before that to comedy.
So I actually started doing comedy.
Comedy's always been the consistent thing.
No, it hasn't been consistent.
Yeah.
So I started out doing comedy, and then I got like big doing like podcast and personality work, and I really had a love for like personality work. I didn't, I don't mind saying it now. I didn't love comedy when I was doing it the first time. It was just people laughed, and I'm addicted to laughter, so I'll go for the joke every time. And in the space I was doing clean comedy, so like I would be able to do like my jokes in churches and stuff. So when you're doing that, like you don't have to change your set or anything. You don't have to write new jokes. Like you could go to different churches or you go to the same churches. They want to hear the same jokes. It's so it's you don't really challenge yourself. So at the time I was just like, this is whatever. I wouldn't be broke at that time. I wouldn't be broke doing comedy. I wouldn't be broke to live the dream. I didn't mind being broke, chasing a dream to become a personality. Because that was truly what I always wanted. No matter what point of life I was in, as a kid, as a teen, as an adult, I always wanted to be on radio, always wanted to be on TV, always wanted to be, in a space where my opinion and voice mattered. So once I got on the Grapevine, those clips started taking off like fucking hot fire. Like every single week they would put out an episode, some shit would go viral. And then I was getting a lot of talking head work at the time. That was the big thing on on like digital platforms like Global Grind and VH1 and shit like that. So I was in BT. I was always in those things, getting called every week. My podcast was moving. The He-Man Woman Hates Club that was moving at the time. We eventually ended up signing with Loudspeakers, and it became the Clubhouse. I was friends and constant members of all the Loudspeaker podcasts, Brilliant Idiots, Read, Friend Zone, everything. I was in that zeitgeist already. So it just led to more and more things. Then in 2018, I get the opportunity to become a writer for the reboot of TRL.
Okay.
And then at that point, I had never been in that scenario. Like the minute I started doing personality work, I was like right before that, I was outside. I was robbing niggas. Like that's what I was doing. There was no job. So to go from that to figuring out like, oh, I can make money off doing like this hosting shit and like making money off my personality, hosting parties, hosting events, and then tweeting. And then that takes me into a writing room of a fucking multi-million-dollar production, daily TV every day. So then that just changed the way I attack, like being in that room and seeing the way TV is and seeing like some of my ideas being like the most viral clips from the reboot. It was like, oh shit, like I know what I'm doing. Naturally, I just know what I'm doing. And I just put that into me. Pause, and then after the reboot ended, that was like a 6-7 month thing. After that ended, literally, that's when I got my first show at BT. I remember one day they just invited me up to the office. They was like, "Yo, what ideas do you have?" I was like, "Nigga, I've been waiting for this for my
Did
life."
they say what ideas
So I
you
just
have?
literally
That's
opened
fire.
up my. I literally opened up my laptop and was like, I got this show idea called I'll Apologize Later, which was like, it was like, I guess the first of the not virtual, but like visual podcast. It was like specifically supposed to be a visual podcast. And that was the first idea I pitched them. They loved it, picked it up. We did 3 seasons, did a whole bunch of cool stuff. That's how I ended up hosting the BT Experience concerts for 2 years. And just like,
Hold on. You're going through a lot. So I want to get into like the business of that.
Yeah.
Walk me through the business of that. When you have your own show on BT, how does the business model work for that?
It's pretty standard. You pretty much come up with the creative and they pretty much run the business side, which it doesn't really, I can say it. It didn't really benefit me well because it was digital. So it's not like it was linear. So it's not like it was on TV, which would have been operated completely different. It's linear. So, I mean, it's digital. So they put it on the YouTube. But what I would tell people who are getting into these deals today, I would say work into your contract like a certain amount of money to be spent on marketing from the company on the product. Like there weren't no ads taken out. Nobody was pushing no ads. There was no digital marketing ads to make sure that, if somebody watched this thing on YouTube, that then I'll Apologize Later would pop up next. There wasn't no mention of it on TV to even throw to people. Like there wasn't. So how do you expect this thing to succeed?
Yeah.
Just because of my name?
Yeah.
The point of me being here then?
Yeah.
I could do that on my own. Not that I'm upset. I'm just saying, what's the point of it, right? Like, I didn't know better, so I didn't do better. I'm saying now,
in hindsight,
now I know. Now when I'm in conversations with 2 networks like that right now for shows, and that's what the standstill is right now. Like, I'm demanding that you spend a certain amount of money to make sure that this thing is marketed properly.
Yeah.
If not, what's the point of doing it?
Yeah, facts. No, that's so true because I've heard a lot of conversations lately around like artists, the bad contracts and all that type of stuff. And what you're saying is so true because it's like if you sign me to your company to produce a show or to write songs or to make music and you're just depending on myself and my name to push it forward, how do you even expect it to work?
That's not even a good partnership. That's not even how good partnerships work.
Yeah.
Right? Like when people be like, oh, well, you bring what you bring to the table. But you're not bringing anything to the table.
Yeah.
You're just letting me in the building.
Yeah.
How is it gonna thrive?
And we're supposed to leverage each other here. So I'm supposed to give you.
You're not even properly leveraging me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I don't know if people at the time that were there knew how to do that properly.
Yeah. Because it was early. That was like 2018.
2018.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
lot
so-
of
That's early in the podcast.
Yeah,
Wait.
very
super
early.
early.
Very early.
It was the very first visual podcast.
Wow.
It was the first.
Do you actually claim that? Was it? Is it?
I mean, it is. Like you could look at the.
Yeah.
You could if you care enough to do the research, you could go see that there were no visual podcasts.
Joe Budden?
Black.
Yeah, when was
Joe
that?
Budden?
No, they weren't shooting video yet.
Are you sure? In 2018?
In 2018, they weren't shooting video.
Really?
Yet. 2018.
Yeah, they had to have
Look this up
been.
right now.
Because I've been watching Joe for a while now.
Boom.
Go to I'll name this podcast later.
But when I say visual, like the full thing
On
was visual. Like
Yeah.
there was no audio.
Yeah.
This was a podcast format.
So okay.
Oh,
So
got
you're
it.
saying that
there was no
got you.
audio.
Okay.
This
Yeah.
lived just
visual.
virtually.
Got you.
Just visually.
Yeah.
And but in the show was interactive in that. So that means I'm throwing to video.
Yeah.
I'm interacting with a moving ticker.
Got you.
Not
got you.
just that people are recording.
Got
Yeah.
you,
Podcast
got you,
been
got
going
you.
on forever, so I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure
So then,
No, but you're saying as a visual platform
visual
only, you're the
plat-
first.
I-
okay, got you.
I
Got you.
was
got
that.
you.
And that was
Got you.
early, so I believe
That was
for sure.
2018.
Yeah.
So yeah.
were they releasing an audio version as well?
No.
No,
Which
that's
they-
what he's
Yeah,
saying. That's
what
what
you're
he's
And
saying.
then,
Got you.
so then
Yeah.
here we
So it
go.
makes it tougher too, because it makes it tougher for the people to sell.
Now here goes the thing.
Because you don't even have two.
I was supposed to be the first person on the BET Podcast Network.
Mm-hmm.
The BET Podcast Network was supposed to happen.
Okay.
Once again, it's not me having gripes with BET Digital. I'm just saying at the time no one knew no one
future.
knew really how to
How
deal
the
with
inner workings.
podcasting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
they just seen, oh, Mouse is lit podcast and
Yeah.
he has a visual podcast idea, let's do it. And I will forever thank them because it was the first of what has been a really cool relationship over the last year. Like literally I just hosted the BET Award pre-show.
Yeah.
Me, Terrence J, Pretty V, and Jay Murphy. Like
Yeah.
I grew up watching the BET pre-show and the BET
Yeah.
Awards.
Facts.
And I got to do that. So,
What was that like, yo?
Surreal.
I
Like
bet.
surreal. Like it
bet.
didn't feel real, right? Like it was like,
That's dope.
and I know I don't get excited for things,
Yeah.
and I know it annoys everybody in my life. They're like, "Oh, you excited?" I'm like, "For what?" Like, what I'm excited for? I'm gonna go get the job done,
Yeah.
right? You celebrate the win after the fact. But this was one of the first times where I like got to the venue. Like when I got to the rehearsal, I was like, "Oh shit!" And I'm looking at all the fucking screens, and I'm looking at all the camera rigs. I'm looking at all the people. I'm like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
And then like Terrence J walks and he says what up. And we have encountered each other outside, but to like be in a workspace with this nigga,
Yeah.
a legend,
A legend.
20-year
Terrence.
Shout out
Legend, bro.
Terrence J.
Shout out Terrence, bro.
Tank,
Yes.
Legend.
Pretty V,
Yes.
Jay Murph.
Yeah.
I'm like, these are my coworkers.
Wow.
That's
Fuck.
so dope.
Yeah.
Like they're looking at me to do my job.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I'm looking at them to do their job. It was fucking different, bro.
That's so dope.
So
Yo.
much support.
So what? 6 years ago, damn near, you're almost not 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
You were robbing people,
Mm-hmm.
and now you're at the BET Awards.
Mm-hmm.
How do you not have imposter syndrome?
I've always been me. When I was robbing niggas, I was me.
Dude, Robin niggas talking to them like, yeah.
Like
I'll
me.
apologize later.
I'm me. So yeah, I really don't. Yeah, I don't. But I don't subscribe to a lot of that stuff. So
Of course,
yeah,
that's in the past.
yeah. I'm talking about imposter syndrome and
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
and code switch. I'm me, bro.
Yeah.
I'm a full and complete human being.
Mm.
One day y'all might hit me up and I might be talking about Pokemon, bro. And then the next day, like, damn, I was gonna say some cool shit I did the other day, but I can't really talk about it. I can say I shot a really cool pilot
Yeah.
for like something regarding like one of my like lifelong immature like loves and you know things I've always cared about.
Mm.
I'm a nigga from the hood, bro. I'm not supposed to be in that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I appreciate every moment for what it is. When you got all that imposter syndrome and all that shit, you like snuffing out and like smothering the moment, bro.
Yeah.
You can't even appreciate the moment. And once again, when I hear imposter syndrome, I just think about like people not being themselves. I don't do anything that's not me. Even when I'm talking about wrestling, I'm me. When I'm talking about, comic books and nerd shit that I'm into, that's me. When I'm talking about protecting women and protecting black queer people, I'm me. When we're talking about hip hop, I'm me.
Yeah.
I'm me when I'm talking to Dr. Umar, the same way I'm me when I'm talking to y'all. I'm me the same way I talk to Charlemagne, that I talk to a regular nigga in a barbershop.
Yeah.
I don't do none of that. We are all
You're not a code
humans,
switcher,
bro. I ain't like.
Yeah.
I'm gonna show up as me every time. So
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be where I'm at because I work to be there. So
Yeah.
I ain't never feeling out of place.
Yeah.
Word. And it feels good. I think what challenges a lot of kids, especially like black people, is that they'll go to corporate and they know that they have to switch. So when it comes to
That
creating,
gotta suck.
that's a reality. So then when it comes to being their own selves online, they feel it's a hard way to adjust because they're like, well, in order for me to get paid there or in school, I have to switch. So to be myself online now is a whole different process. When their best superpower is to be themselves.
Yeah.
But we live in a society that we do not control and do not own. So I get it. I just hate it for the people that have to do it. And I honestly think you don't have to do it. Especially today.
Yeah.
There's so many jobs.
Yeah.
Word.
There's so many fucking jobs.
What's the highest paying gig you've got?
Oh, come on, man.
We pocket watching. We pocket watching out here.
Robbing niggas. Robbing niggas.
Single gig.
Robbing niggas. I mean, that's gonna be the answer, bro.
All right, 6 figures.
Robbing niggas.
All right. All right, no pocket watching today.
No pocket watch. No pocket watch. It's a business podcast. You gotta ask.
I respect it.
You know what I'm saying? Most definitely, bro. All right, so.
But what I will say, because now that I'm hearing the question you're asking, I do feel this answer will help a lot of, up and comers that's betting on themselves. You get what you negotiate. And that's not always just a dollar amount.
Yeah.
Sometimes these brands only do have the amount of money that they say they have.
Yeah.
You're gonna shoot yourself in the nigga. 7,000 is better than 0.
Facts.
Was you gonna make
Facts.
7,000 on that day anyway? Was you gonna make 10,000 that day that you're turning down anyway?
I tell people that all the time. So I'm a videographer. I run my own production company, and in my new journey has been finding people to work with, staff, for lack of a better term. And I've had videographers who are nowhere similar as qualified as me, doesn't have the same type of equipment as me, or has invested as much time and money into their companies, tell me like, oh, bro, like, yo, I'm not doing no jobs for $3 or $200. I'm like, bro, you weren't even booked that day. you accepted the shoot because you weren't doing anything, and you're gonna deny that money because it doesn't seem to fit your standard. But I feel like sometimes
we're in a really weird time where people are listening to people are misinterpreting the words and advice of rich people.
Yes.
So like that is like a big thing I've heard about Dame, right? When they talk about Dame Dash, they're like, oh, he did it. Dame is not wrong in what he's saying. He's actually right. He's just not talking to you, nigga, that works at FedEx. He's talking to another business owner. So the thing is, sometimes these niggas are taking business owner advice and you ain't got no business to own.
Facts.
Now, this is not me telling creatives to look at yourself less. You have to be honest with where you are in your craft. That was a big question that was always asked to me early on, like, yo, Mouse. Because niggas, like, I've always been blessed that if I say I want to do something, I get the opportunity to do it. And I get it in bulk. So, like, when I first started hosting, I wasn't making a lot of money. But I was hosting everything. I was hosting. This was back when New York was kind of like where it is right now. But, like, back in 2016, New York City was different. It was just different. There was so many creative outlets and so many different things. Like, I'm talking about, there was one week I hosted like 14 events.
One week.
Monday through Sunday, I hosted like 14 events. There was like, so that means I was hosting like at least 2 a day.
2 a day.
There was one of those days I hosted 3 events. And so I wasn't getting paid top dollar on all of these, and there were some of them I wasn't getting paid at all. But I would use that to leverage payment on other ones, right? Then you have to be honest with your craft. When people would ask me, I'd be like, "Yo, Mouse, what do you charge?" Well, I charge a little different. I've been doing this a little longer. I know the ins and outs. I know that when I host somebody's event, they're gonna want to have me back for two reasons. One, I'm great to work with. Two, I know what the fuck I'm doing. If you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you hit this nigga over the head, that'll be the last $500 you ever make. Because they're gonna feel like they got. So when I've always been honest with my craft, and to the, sometimes that would lead to arguments with me and management and stuff before, because like, I'm not gonna hit this person over the head because I know this is an opportunity for me. Once I get fired, price goes up. You charge for the quality of the work. And because my quality of work is intangible, I have to really be honest.
How do you quantify fire? Like, is it just like the
So my
energy?
job is people based.
Yeah.
So I then set the people ablaze, and I look at the person and be like, "You want that back?
Word.
You want that energy again? When you
Gotcha.
throw your next event, you want that energy again?"
Got you.
And that's what
what's up.
happens. That's why, this is my second year hosting Broccoli City. This will be my third year hosting, at Afrotech. This is my
Shout out Afro. Shout out Charles.
shout out Charles, shout out
Yeah.
Morgan.
Yeah,
I
shout
literally
out
talked to
Morgan
Morgan the
and
other day. Shout out to Josh, shout out that whole team, that whole Blavity team.
Morgan, we want you on the show. You have Charles on. Your turn coming soon.
You gotta go to Nashville, boys. They in Nashville.
I'm down. I'm down. I'll spend them points.
Yeah, you gotta go. But yes, that is what it is, right? When you are in this space of personality-driven work, you have to be so honest and so real with your level of talent and skill, because you can easily be replaced. Easily. So if you ain't hot, let me not say hot, because hot and good is two different things. If you're not great at this craft, you're not good at this craft, don't start hitting people over the head. Do it for what they offering.
Yeah.
Get fire. Get nice. Get undeniable. I'm undeniable at my craft. The art of being a personality, eliciting emotion and feeling from people, I am amazing at. Short of the greatest of the greats like Charlemagne and Petey Green and fucking Starr and fucking Howard Stern and John Daly. I'm a step underneath them niggas right now. John Stewart, I said John Daly. John Stewart from The Daily Show. Yeah. I'm a step underneath them niggas right now. At this level, I am the best at it. You put me in a room, I'm gonna show you why you wanted me in that room.
Got you.
Turn the microphones on, turn the speakers on, let me go to work. I'm gonna charge you top dollar for that work. But I wasn't always that. There was times where, and y'all, if you paid attention, people seen the growth happen in real time on the Grapevine. On the Grapevine, that was my warrior school. Because we wasn't talking hip hop, boy. I had to know what the fuck I was talking about.
All right, let's talk about that experience, man. What was that like for you, bro?
First and foremost, shout out to Ashley Acuna.
Shout out to Ashley Acuna.
Shout out to Ashley Acuna. Y'all definitely need to have her on the show.
For
I don't know
sure.
where she's at in the world, but definitely I need to have Ashley Acuna on the show. But yeah, they gave a nigga from the hood an opportunity to talk about these fucking expansive, super intelligent, socioeconomic black issues. And I had none of the accreditations outside of just the life I've lived. I was always the least educated. And when I say educated, I mean in the term of like
school.
School.
Yeah.
I dropped out of high school. Dropped out of high school 6 months before high school was over. Like,
oh, you made it to the 12th year?
Yeah, I wasn't doing shit, but I was just like, yeah, fuck it. They told me I wasn't graduating. I was like, oh, you think I'm gonna keep going? Yeah, nah, I'm out.
So yeah.
Yeah, I'm a nigga with a GED, staying up there with Yale, Princeton graduates. Shout out to rest in peace to Aisha K. Fines.
I was about to say that.
One of the smart. She's tatted on my arm, boy. Like, that's my sister. That's my dog. Forever, and I'll forever sing her praises. I owe a lot of my growth mentally to her and her works, and just having her in my life.
Yeah.
As well as Uchechi. I butcher her last name, so I'm not gonna do it. But Uchechi as well. So being in those spaces, I had to learn when to jump in, when to talk, when is it important to share your opinion, how to share your opinion, how do I share my opinion that differs from everybody else's but doesn't turn the audience off. I had to learn all that in real fucking time on YouTube. That is an unforgiving audience.
On a real show.
On a real show.
Yeah.
So, listen, I wasn't charging top dollar back in those days.
Got you.
It got to a point where I was like, all right, I know what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to do this show? Yeah, this how much it is. You want me to do the show? This how much it is.
One thing that was so interesting about the show is that I'm not trying to pocket watch too heavy, but there was no ads on that show like that.
Nope.
So what was going on? Like how was were y'all getting are y'all getting paid to be on the show?
I got paid.
Okay. So how are they? I'm curious to how they were monetizing.
Hey, brother, I'm a cast member.
I feel you.
I'm not produced or owned or not, so I don't know. I just know I was paid. I was taking care of.
That was so interesting. That was so, bro. I don't know if you watched the Grapevine, but it was on YouTube. They had no ads on the channel, growing like wildfire. No ads, bare views. And I was like, what in the world are they doing? How are they affording this? It was insane.
Yeah.
And I think it was like the first show I ever did that before Joey. I don't think Joe Budden was doing that at the time either.
Well, Joe is.
Well, Joe's on YouTube and he has ads on his shit.
Well, now, yeah.
But he's always had ads on those videos.
Yeah, for sure. But actually,
people just think he doesn't do ads, but he does.
He does ads.
Been doing ads actually.
This podcast is brought to you by Narai Cellars Wine, the only black-owned wines in Canada. You already know what to do. Hit the link below and scoop up not one, not two, but a case of wine. This is the white field blenders wine. So make sure you go scoop that. Hit the link below and visit naraicellars.ca. Let's get back to the show.
I keep believing that lie if you want.
Yeah. You think he can't? No, I don't think anybody can get that far without some sort of advertisement in general. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
All right. So what was it like signing up your podcast to Loudspeakers? You know, like
say that again. I didn't hear that first part of that question.
Signing your podcast to Loudspeakers. You know, as a podcaster, I'm looking for the ways to monetize. You know, I got the little spot. Shout out to Narai. You know,
well, that's how you do it. That's how I did it. So the He-Man Woman Hits Club was just this idea I came up with when I was like, fuck it. I seen podcasts. The first podcast I ever heard was The Read, and then Brilliant Idiots, and then Combat Jack, rest in peace, OG Reg. The Podfather, the Godfather of all podcasts, and the father of this shit. I don't care what nobody say. Them niggas is lying to you. Niggas with bad teeth and fake hairlines, they are lying to you. They are not the Podfather. They are not the Godfather of podcasting. Combat Reggie Osei is the godfather of podcasting. He's the father of black hip hop podcasting for sure.
For sure.
I just want to say that. But at the time, I was like, oh, the barrier entry, you just got to record a podcast? I bet I'm doing it. I started doing it. And so the way I started doing it was before I knew about RSS feeds and all that shit, I would just go into my man's studio. Shout out my man Jordan. He was a rapper in high school. Like one of the first successful rappers I ever seen. He was a rapper in high school, so he had a studio in his bedroom. And so me and my two friends, I would get us all to go there. And this is how ghetto it was. Because the niggas was still like learning about podcasts. Niggas did not know. So what we did is we took 3 dynamic mics and taped the mics to a table.
Wow.
And that's like we didn't have the mic that you would rap into.
Yeah.
He put down, he would tape it to the table. And then that's how we record. Yeah. And then we record that, and then we would make. And then I had the idea to I was like, just let's email it around to our friends. Yeah. Started about like 10, 20. About 2 weeks, that email list is at like 40, 50. About another week and a half, 60, 70. Another week and a half, that's just at like 100. Mind you, we're sending the raw file. We're not sending a link.
Not even edited?
No, I'm sorry. It was edited.
Okay.
But only as edited. What? I take it back. It really wasn't edited.
It was just cut together.
It was cut together. It was like, start recording. Hey, cut out the part where we say start and like any extra conversation. Yeah. And then close it when we close it. And then that was it. And then we would send that zip file or that wave or MP3 file around. So I would say in a month we were at like 250 people.
And what year was this specifically?
This was 2014 going into this was 2014.
Got you.
Wow. And so then I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, fuck it, let's do it. Like, if we got 250 people listening and we only know like 120 of these people, let's fucking just do it. And we started doing it. And literally, the more I grew, the more the podcast grew.
Yeah.
And, you know, one thing I always noticed is even when we had low numbers, we never went under that number. And that was the important part that made me okay with everything I do. As long as I have an audience, I will support and I will supply my audience.
Yeah.
And the key to knowing that is not always your audience growth, it's the audience sustaining. So I say it like this. So He-Man Woman Hates Club in the beginning, I wasn't nobody. I was just a cool nigga around my neighborhood. I wasn't nobody. So for that first 6-7 months, we were doing like 250 listens a week. But guess what? We never went under 250, which let me know, okay, 250 people are being
There's a
fed.
base. There's a fan base.
And then as I started getting bigger, you see the numbers going up. Boom, boom. We get to a point where we're like 2,500 every week. It's not going under, no matter if there's a guest or not. So then I said, how do I get sponsors? It wasn't even a money thing. It was, I just felt like if people heard, shout out to our sponsors, and we cut ads and shit, I was just finding shit to cut ads for. So then that's when Kirby Cups come into play. And shout out to the brother, Asim Supreme. That's when he came into play. And there was a few others, you know, small. And I was just like networking across. So that's why I said, that's what started this, because you have that. And I'm like, that's smart. All right, maybe you want Hennessy, cool. Maybe you'll get him. Maybe you won't. But you got this nigga. And if this nigga is supplying you with product, and eventually you figure out a payment structure.
He's paying too.
So now, so you have a sponsor. You cut an ad, you give them the ad, boom. Boom. Now you just got to find like 5 more of those. Now your podcast is monetizing.
Yeah.
You find five more of those. Okay, now how do I take this and make this bigger? Okay, do I got some merch? All right, let me run some merch. Can I do a live show? Can I get the sponsors to actually pay for the live show to happen? Can we work out a breakdown of that? That's what I started doing. And once I found that acumen, it was kind of just boom. So what happened with that is I always had a relationship with Combat, A-King, Jonathan Minna, Chris Morrow, Charlemagne, but he wasn't in a part of that deal.
Gotcha.
Like this was with Loudspeakers.
Gotcha.
But yes, I was in relationship with all them, so it came literally. It just I was getting hotter and hotter. I got the BT show, and I never like one thing about I never forgot about He-Man Women Hates Club. It was like if I'm gonna keep getting hot, I'm taking my shit with me.
Yeah, I said.
And then I got big. I had my shows at BT, and then I got the call like, "Yo, we want to bring you over to Loudspeakers."
Super fire.
And I was like, "Well, I'm guessing we can't call this." We can't call it the He-Man Woman Haters Club no more. Think I could see how that could be a problem for sponsors.
For sure.
And it was nothing to change the name to the Clubhouse. I had already in the show's zeitgeist, it was part of the vocabulary anyway. Like I would say, welcome to the Clubhouse. So it was easy to change it to that, and then that led into the Guys Next Door podcast with myself and Mac.
Listen, the more subscribers we have, the better the guests get. So please hit subscribe. Let's get back into the show.
A nigga, and by no means am I saying I'm the coolest man on earth. Drake's just not a nigga I would ever want to hang around. Like,
is that based off of what you see in public, or based off of
the
things that
perception
you?
he allows to be perceived?
Okay, got you.
The way he moved, then the music really doesn't get challenging or anything. It's pretty formulaic, which I don't hate the formula. Clearly, it works. But I'm just now more honest about the formula. I'm like, well, this is a formula and it works, and doesn't really make me say, he's so good. I think the last project I really enjoyed, and I think even I was like judged for this, was Certified Lover Boy.
Certified Lover Boy is
one
fire.
of my favorite Drake.
I love
projects
that
ever.
album. Yeah,
because it felt like I remember I likened it to like a rich actor doing like an indie film. It felt like he kind of just went at it a different way.
Yeah.
And like had these features, and these features were kind of used as pieces of art themselves. To me, like I might have overlooked it. It might like just been in my deep bag that day. But to me, I think that was the last thing that kind of was musically, sonically challenging and kind of like, okay, I like what's going on here.
So you're a Drake R&B fan. You like his R&B, like you like his
like Drake
more
music.
melodic music.
Oh, no.
No, you're not.
more than the rap. I like them equally.
But do you like? Because
I
a
would
lot.
prefer the melodic.
You prefer the melodic. So you know what? What I've realized in just this short conversation, like you are an actual Drake fan.
No, I'm not a fan.
No, I think you are.
A fan is somebody who stands by that artist no matter what. I don't.
Okay, so if you don't want to say you're a fanatic,
I enjoy.
you actually do appreciate his music.
I said that in the beginning.
No, but the thing is that when you speak, the way you do about him, and even just your kind of demeanor when it comes to him, you can tell that you're definitely like not on his wave right now, for sure.
Because I'm asked specific questions.
Yeah.
As if you ask me a specific question, I have to answer the question honestly.
Yeah.
If you were to ask me an open-ended question, if you would say, "Hey, how do you feel about Drake's music?"
Yeah.
I enjoy Drake's music. I listen to it. I love You My Everything. I love it. I listen to it because of Sexy Red and Drake. I love Drake verse. What else do I like? I be listening. At first I hated it, but then it grew on me. His verse on Four Bats joint.
Yeah.
Like it grew on me. Like I like if there's Drake music, if it's not any of that weird, honestly, never mind shit. And if it's not any of the weird like machismo rap shit that I just don't believe.
Yeah.
I like it.
Got you. Okay.
But if you ask me a specific question, and you put me like if you give me context to a question, I have to answer the question within the context you give me.
Got you. All right. I'm good.
Word, man.
Fuck hip hop and any no.
That has to be the starting of the pod.
Yo.
Fuck hip hop.
Yo, using real
Hey, yo,
form.
thank you for turning him up like that. Because I feel like you used your producer brain and you 100% brought that out of it. Like,
went harder.
appreciate you for
For
that.
sure. You went a little harder. You're like,
Because what I was
push the
saying,
button.
I was like, let's see how far we can get him.
what I was saying with Alex, I don't think that our energy and the way we were speaking to him would have brought that out. So I appreciate you for bringing that out of it, bro. That was fire. That was
for
fire.
having me.
Most
Is there,
definitely.
when are you pulling up to Toronto? Like, what's your connection with Toronto? Like, do
So
you?
I have been to Toronto twice.
Yeah.
And the first time I almost went to jail in the airport.
Oh shit! Would you
So
have
I
weed or
never
something?
had my so this is I had just got off probation. I got my passport. We had a show. We had a trap karaoke show at the Mod Theater during Carabana. Knew nothing about Carabana. Just always heard about it from Drake and shit. See, I like him. I heard about it. I was like, oh, this shit about to be lit. Get there, mind you. This is my first time traveling out the country as a civilian. I have no idea what the fuck goes on with a passport. I get to the airport. A white, like I don't even know what they're called. Like they're not cops. But
Like the customs officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sees me, sizes me up, and like asking me for my papers. I was like, what the fuck is that? Like, to me, I'm like, slave papers? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It was a white person. So me and him going back and forth, and then another black person, tell me like, no, just ask for like your passport. I'm like, why the fuck didn't he say that shit? I was about to get locked up, but then it was all good. Got out of there, checked into the hotel, and then went to. It was Carabana. Me and the DJ at the time, Abe Hyde, we walked the strip. What is it called?
Yeah, you're probably on Lakeshore,
Probably on the
where
Lakeshore
the parade is happening. Yeah, Lakeshore. Yeah.
Like you couldn't even. Your phone had no service.
For
like,
sure.
Just mod ting, bro.
Mod.
Mod fucking
There's a
ting,
mod
bro.
ting.
No.
No, you're
No.
saying it too UK, fam.
Yeah,
So
go
so
UK.
what we would say it
I
was a mod
cheesing,
thing.
fam.
No.
No, that
No,
was
wasn't
horrible.
cheesing,
Even the way
No,
Kendrick
no.
said that was wrong.
It was wrong.
He's
yeah.
actually supposed to say I'm cheese. So when we say we're upset, we're like, I'm cheese, fam.
Oh, I wasn't.
You're
cheese fan.
cheesing me, fam.
Nah, I wasn't
there's
cheesing.
No.
ink.
I was super happy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So what you're saying there, it was a mod thing.
Mod ting.
It was a mod thing.
Sounds like we're talking Harry Potter. I want to say point for Gryffindor, Mr. Potter.
That's how you get Toronto
Wait, what
language,
other
bro?
Toronto slangs do you know?
That's it.
That's it.
Oh, damn. Yeah,
That's
you
it.
gotta teach
So
your
when's the
one
next
too.
time you're pulling up?
Next time I'm booked out there, man. I like Toronto. I enjoy Toronto. I was just out there for a damn, I forgot this artist's name. It's cool jazz artist. He was supposed to have a show out there, and then for whatever reason it got canceled. So I ended up being out in
John
Toronto.
Vinos?
What's his name?
John Vinos? Or Vino?
Nah, this nigga name was Dante something. He's not from Toronto. But he was like had a show out there.
Got
Had
you.
like one of them symphony
halls or something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I ended up staying I was at the Ritz out there downtown. And then I went to Yacht Mall. I shopped at this store called like On Point. Or no. I don't know. It was
There's so many different
what's
spots.
that mall down there?
Eaton Center?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cool. Like it was super cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me of New York, just super quiet.
It's
Like
definitely
nobody
like New York.
honks horns. Like there be traffic jams and nobody honks a horn.
It's a nice New York.
It's a nice New York.
It's a New York with respectful people because people out here are not respectful.
No, it's just Toronto. Don't want to give y'all New York anything.
Yo,
It's
they
just-
not like us, bro. Yo, Toronto people, they not like us for real.
ever. We are not like them niggas. Yo, y'all niggas really sold that to Dr. Umar. It made me so mad. I'm like,
That's
it is not no fucking.
There is.
It's,
No, it
I'm not
is.
saying I'm saying just don't listen to those people. Those are weird people.
No, but yo, it's hard not to because the thing is that for many people, they're not actually getting the other perspective. So people on the Kendrick side are not getting the side of not necessarily Drake fans because Drake fans are too worldwide. I mean, Toronto Drake fans. They're not getting our perspective. So when that clip went viral and they're killing me in the comments, like to this day, I just responded to somebody this morning. That's how that clip came out months ago, right? And when there's so many people with that concerted effort to say, yo, if you're not from America and you're black, you're not actually black.
Well, you're not. I think what they're trying to say, I hope what they're trying, not that I hope, what I think they're trying to say is you're just not black American, so you can't understand the experience. And so I think they're kind of saying
That's wrong though. That's why Dr. Umar said it's wrong.
It's not. Well, it wasn't told to him this way. It wasn't portrayed to him this way. See, and I get what he's saying. He's saying, yo, fuck all that Pan-Africanism, everybody together. It's hard to do when people are so segregated, and they're segregated out of necessity.
Mm-hmm.
Our people need to have something to hold on to.
Mm-hmm.
And it could be stupid stuff, tribalism, it could be all that dumb shit, but we need something because we don't have anywhere to reach back and say, my people come from here.
Yeah.
A lot of our people start right here due to the transatlantic slave trade.
Yeah.
So we're ripped from our homes. We don't have no connection back home. This is all we know. So if we come up with some cool shit, we come up with some shit, you can't just come in stomping all over it. And then get to go back to where you're from and say, oh, this is my thing.
Do you think that's what you think Drake did? So here's the thing.
A little bit. I don't know if Drake has the. And once again, I've never had a conversation with this man. This is all me just.
It's just perception.
Yeah, I'm just shooting here.
Yeah.
It does seem that Drake cosplays everything. When he wants a Jamaican tune, he'll go mind the mama. And I get it. I know there's a very heavy West Indian, specifically Jamaican influence in Toronto.
Yeah.
But he ain't that.
Well, one
His
thing.
dad is American.
No.
His
Okay.
mama is a white Jewish lady.
All right.
So when you come up in here talking about and like I said, culturally, Toronto culture, I get it.
But that's what
the
what you're doing,
outside-
what you're saying, that's what white people do. So white people all the time, right now, I see it every single day where white people, they start taking up for other people who never once complained. For example,
Jamaicans do not complain. Best believe.
And so recently this actually happened in America where you had black Americans saying, I forgot what the exact situation was, but there was
It
something
happens
that
a
had
lot.
to do with Jamaica.
It happens a lot with
Right?
Adele. It happened with Adele. It happened with Chet.
Adele. It happened with Adele, where she was wearing the thing, and then you have black people from America talking about, oh, why is she wearing black? And all the Jamaicans are, oh, Chet Hanks.
But they don't know.
All the Jamaicans are like, yo,
sometimes people don't know.
we love this.
But Jamaicans also sold their company. I mean, their country is also ran by Chinese people. Like,
Well, yeah, because they needed the help, so they gave a lot of the country to
now
China.
You're indebted. So it's like,
Yeah.
let us stand up for you. Shut up.
No. But that's the thing. That's what white people do with black people, and y'all hate it when white people do it with y'all.
What? I wish white people stood up for black people.
No, but white people all the time, like you'll have work situations where white people will start being like, oh no, this was offensive and blah, blah, blah. And the
I
other
don't see
people
that.
didn't I see it all the
I
time.
don't see that enough.
Where people will call out offense. It's like you're playing ball and someone else calls a foul for you. Like, don't call a foul for me. I actually was about to finish at the hoop. You called the foul, now the game stopped. That's what happens all the time with white people doing that with black people.
I don't see white people doing that ever. I see white people.
I've seen it a
I
lot.
see white people portraying their microaggressions and maybe thinking it helps.
Like
Maybe
even
that's-
like
It's like a
inclusion,
it's a
like,
savior complex.
but I'm talking more with the inclusion shit. Like when you look at companies like Pepsi, where that was 100% not a black person's idea to put that to do the whole Pepsi thing with Kendall Jenner, right?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean.
You
Where
know-
you have other
Here
people
go the sad part.
giving it ideas.
Here goes the sad part.
Yeah,
There probably was black people in that room.
just the wrong black people.
Or people that just didn't have the power to speak up.
That's more like
Yeah.
Okay, okay. So you're saying there were black people in the room, but they
because
weren't able to make the actual.
There was many times I was in the writing room where I was like, "Yo,
Yeah.
that don't fit." And there was times where I had to be like, where I had to really let it be. Yo, I'm telling y'all that shit don't work.
Yeah.
That's stupid. Black people would never do this. Maybe somebody didn't feel that as him. I also am a nigga from the street, so it's not. I've already been out there, so it's nothing for you to fire me and send me back out there. For somebody who ain't never lived that way, they might be a little more quiet. So I'm more, equipped to like lean with him and just be like, maybe they just didn't feel they had enough power. But there were black people in that room.
Yeah.
Trust me.
And even from what you're saying, I think it's a lot of projection, a lot of American projecting things onto a man that's from Toronto that you guys actually don't understand. Whereas, like, so people talking about how he might be a culture vulture, stuff like that.
He certainly is.
The 100%, that's just an American thing. No, he's not.
Oh, he's certainly.
You know
culture
why?
vulture.
Because in Toronto, so I'll teach you something about Toronto, something that you actually probably won't understand because you're from here. And
That
like you
sounded
said,
racist. It sounded like you called me a hardy R.
No, you 100%. I know that you won't
No, I'm just
understand
playing
it
with
just
you.
based
Go
off of what you're saying. You know what I mean? But in Toronto and Toronto culture, we identify as who we are. So I'm Jamaican, if he's African, if this guy's Indian, whatever it is. But one thing with people from Toronto is that we actually come together and take part in people's culture a lot.
Okay.
That's a normal thing out there.
Oh, I've heard this.
That's
Yeah, I've heard
100%.
this.
Like it's literally normal for a black guy to speak in Indian culture or an Indian guy to say wagwan. Like that type of shit is normal in Toronto. So when you see a guy like Drake going across the world and what you guys would call culture vulturing, I would actually prefer people to understand that he's actually not being he's culture vulture. He's actually being so much a part of his culture. Him going to Jamaica and talking
Yeah,
like
but
a
there's
Jamaican, that's
I
Canadian,
think
that's
people-
Toronto culture.
I think people's thing is there's no one thing you can be like, what is the Drake thing? You could look at him and be like, he is like super malleable to the environment. It's like, what are you?
But that is the Drake thing.
And
the fact that
that's-
he is
and that is
malleable.
that's why it was so easy to get behind
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
that's going on, because there is nothing for you to be able. Oh, not Drake.
Yeah.
Like it, hate it, whatever you want to call him. Kendrick has something that you could point and say, that's Kendrick.
Yeah.
Drake don't have that, because
Yes,
if
he
you
does.
point at Drake and you be like, well, that's the thing, but then immediately when you point at him, he'll turn into a Caribbean artist, and then he'll turn to an Afrobeats
But
artist.
that
Then he'll
is
turn
the Drake
into a
thing.
pop artist.
but
Then he'll
then-
come back to hip hop, and then he'll turn into, and it's like, nigga, who are you?
He's all of that. He's Toronto culture because that's what Toronto culture is.
Keep that shit across
Toronto,
the border then.
so see the snow bunny shit that Dr. Umar be talking about. So I understand it, but I could never agree with that because
you
in
date white
Toronto, 100%. But in Toronto,
You
I'm
bum
scared
ass nigga. Why you ain't say that shit? Oh,
because
you
I wanted
pussy!
it. I wanted him to flame your ass. Fuck that.
Oh my.
Fuck
Wrap
that.
it up. Wrap it up.
No, 100%. But yo,
This nigga date white bitches and did not. Oh
no,
my God.
not white
She's
bitches, not white
she's
bitches.
White passing.
I
But you
found-
somebody too.
Not white bitches.
You snort was bunny hopper.
You're a bunny hopper, bro. Don't
Bunny
lie.
hopper too.
I'm not.
You are, bro.
This is documented.
It's documented.
It's documented.
One person lied to me and said she was Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican is bunny
It's a
hopper.
Latina bunny. That's a Latina bunny.
No, that's out of Rabito.
So then his girl's Venezuelan.
Yeah, my girl's Venezuelan.
Oh, but she's white.
She's white passing.
So was yours.
I
White
thought she was
passing.
Puerto Rican.
White passing.
You didn't ask?
And we
I
saw
did. She told me.
we saw her, we saw the Brilliant Idiots video.
And she told me I said, what did I always say? This girl told me she was Puerto Rican. What did she say on the show? I told him I was Puerto Rican. I said, yes, I am like a Puerto Rican.
So
So you're a bunny hopper too, bro. It's okay.
No, I'm not.
if she's
I
Puerto
threw
Puerto
up.
Rican isn't black.
See, in America, that gets a little weird.
Nah. We're not
Afro,
moving the goalposts. We're not moving that.
But we're not. What I keep saying
Puerto
is
Ricans are
race
not black.
is complex.
Are they?
Yes. There are
Puerto
black
Ricans
Puerto
are
Ricans.
black.
There are black Puerto Ricans, but Puerto Ricans are
There's
not
black
black.
Brazilians.
There's
there-
Afro-Latino.
There's Afro-Latinas. That doesn't mean
So,
that.
but when you get to New York, that line gets so
Yeah, because Spanish people be saying nigga out here. I know.
like when you get to New York, that line gets so blurred.
If Adele was from Puerto Rico, would she be black?
No, that's a white woman.
Okay.
Listen, I thought
He's trying to
what I
defend the
thought was
buddy
Puerto
hop.
Rican.
Don't
And
defend
then
the
I
buddy
found
hop.
out it was a white woman, and I got her, and I got my lick back in blood.
How?
How?
You go, oh, y'all didn't listen to the?
Nah.
No. How happened?
I ran her credit card up. I made her buy me so much shit, and then just never spoke to her ever again. Like left her in like so much debt. It was,
Damn.
Literally.
Damn.
Yeah, I ran. I
City
said,
boys up how much?
oh, we
City
was
was
up,
1,000.
and now she dead. So it was like
She's dead?
She
yeah.
died?
Oh shit! I didn't know your money died, bro.
What the
That's not my money.
Nah, I'm playing. Let me not do that. Let me not do
Now
that.
she's in the
RP,
bunny.
RP.
Now she
Bunny
in the
heaven.
rabbit. She on the rabbit wheel. of
Rabito
heaven.
heaven.
In the big rabbit wheel.
Yo, this guy is fucked.
Now we're going to.
God forgive me for laughing at that.
Yeah, word. So, yeah, let's
All right,
wrap
well,
this up.
yeah, we can wrap it up. I appreciate you.
I appreciate y'all, man.
Having
This
the
was great.
conversation,
It was
man.
cool.
Most
Love.
definitely. Yeah.
Appreciate y'all, man.
Awesome, yo. The hustle is what you can't control. So control your grind. I control your life. I'm Alex.
I'm Isaac.
Mouse Jones.
That's a show, y'all. Peace.